Any progress with the case, Mr. Holmes?
Did you hear Basilio Capello is in jail? A dead body was found in his showroom. Did you hear Basilio Capello? Did you hear Basilio Capello?
Bring the police. Let's pretend to be cops, eh? We could just stand around and look confused.
Is this familiar to you? Excuse me? What? I'm not sure I know. I'll visit you later. Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
You can question Mr. Pinchetti in the interrogation room.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you. Don't you understand what a ticket is?
I'd like to check evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. Werner's personal sketchbook. Not the time for privacy. An emergency kit for boredom. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. A key to the altar room. That's not for bedtime reading. This ex libris belongs to Manchios Library. The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. Thank you, officer.
熊本モーニング競輪締め切りとなりました。ご投票ありがとうございました。
This area is restricted.
Look, I found Werner.
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
まずは初手7番3番難関勢に関東の
木下と1番の小林、7341と4車がまず前段です。そして後ろ攻めになったのは5番の岡崎を軸とした2番車の上原、6番車の安藤、526と西の3人という展開。2周回目の1コーナーのカーブに勝っています。体勢が大きく2つに分かれました。前は7番の阿部俊です。人気の中心となっているその125回生の若手、3番下の佐藤がマークで、7番3番難関地区は前段動きようがありません。そしてその難関勢の木に期待する4番の木下、1番の小林です。大ベテランのこの木下、今日はラインの3番手からチャンスを待つことになっています。じっと様子を見ている5番の岡崎です。まだ5番手、4コーナーから直線部分に入ります。残り2周というところで、その5番の岡崎が上昇開始です。一旦7番車の阿部の方は車を下げました。これで西の3人、東勢は4番手以降という展開になっています。第2コーナー、これから向こう流しに入ったところ、5番の岡崎が後ろを見ながら先行です。ジャンが入って残り1周半、5番の岡崎先行、2番車の上原2番手、6番の安藤3番手、7番の阿部が4番手から一気に巻き返しに出る4コーナーから直線です。最後の鐘が入りました。残り1周というところで7番の阿部が飛び出しています。3番車の佐藤がマーク、5番車の岡崎ですが、結局引いて3番手、2番車の上原がその後ろ切り替えていこうというのか、バックに入りました。7番3番、そしてその後ろにすれ違いの2番の上原という展開になっています。4コーナーから直線、先頭7番の阿部俊です。2番手3番車の佐藤、かわすことができるかどうか。3着は2番車の上原です。阿部俊が押し切ったようなゴール体勢か。3着はどうやら2番車の切り替えた上原です。リプレイで確認しましょう。阿部俊が風を切っています。佐藤がマークで4コーナー直線。3着はどうやら切り替えた2番の上原直樹です。一気にどうやら答えた7番車の阿部俊か。横からのスーパースローで再度確認します。どうやら7番車の阿部俊が押し切って先頭でゴールを通過。佐藤がラインの3着2番の上原と難関勢でワンツー、3着2番の上原直樹です。審判の決定放送までお待ちください。4レースのチャレンジの予選をお伝えしました。決定1着7番、2着3番、3着2番。
熊本競輪4レースの払い戻し金額をお知らせいたします。車番伝承複式3720円、車番伝承単式73100。
You are the major domo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide, under heavy makeup, a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
Do not have a lot of means. Pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
I don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest.
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always Fabio-centric.
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose. Please let me out.
I recognize the key from the altar room among these. Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love, cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoning me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of her maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship. Please let me out. Please let me out.
What a bunch of losers.
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What do you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obey?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
There are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
I can't follow you here. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here. 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 I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti.
Do I know him?
The major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you?
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Mancher.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember who to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for
you being on a bender.
Touché. The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
Please let me out.
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Please let me out.
I know you can untangle this mess.
continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Please let me out.
Are you done yet? Can I leave?
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
キノコに熊本県の熊本競輪場からチャリオート杯モーニングセブン開催の初日の模様
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
バックにはこれぞのメンバーが入ってきました。
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murder.
It will not bring Fabio
選手
back.
紹介は大きく2分線。九州注目勢が4人、あとは東北の3人という選手紹介。人気の中心は4番の中西優です。では対戦するメンバーです。1番が沖縄の照屋正樹、2番車岡山の長谷隆、3番車宮城の奈良元井、4番福岡の中西優、5番が青森から橋本裕二、6番熊本の時松正、そして7番が宮城島貫貴弘。以上7名が第5レースのチャレンジの予選競争を戦います。125回生の中西が登場です。ここのところ力をつけてきました。前回の岸和田では完全優勝、大本命での登場ということになりました。奈良本井が状態を起こしています。今回熊本競輪初見談、今日は若い中西との戦いということになります。第5レースはチャレンジの予選、2分戦での戦いということになります。第5レースのチャレンジの予選が今スタートを切りました。まず4番車の中西が最初に 25m ラインを通過しています。 S を取りました4番の中西優、125回生です。1番車の照屋が早くもマークをつけています。6番車の時松が上がって416、九州3人、そして2番車の長谷がその後ろラインを固めています。まずは4162と九州中国の4車が前段、これで遠くの3人は後ろということになります。3番車の奈良元井に7番車の島貫、5番の橋本です。
Fabio and yourself were slaves, am I correct? You have a similar branding on your body.
It was a long time ago.
Couldn't help but also notice fresh cuts upon your forearms.
The cuts helped me to forget my past, to cover the old wounds and hide them.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Cordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to say.
This book, The Power of Love, Blood and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strength that governs us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall and cast a spell on him.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is really so lazy.
You say so?
I don't know what to say. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to say. I've nothing to say. I've nothing to say. I don't know what to say. I've nothing to say. I've nothing to add. I don't know what to say. I've nothing to add. I don't know what to say. I've nothing to say. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to add. I don't know what to say. I've nothing to add.
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchel?
Oh, that could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else maybe.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought. I know I can handle the news.
Please let me out.
I know you can untangle this mess.
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers of the new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the boars again.
That voice. Ernest, friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp tongue, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
I need to examine them first. You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else.
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you perform?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchin?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive ship?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties. Assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see. What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
Expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
I know I can handle the news.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
Please let me out.
梶尾幸喜、3番愛知の高野信玄、4番新潟の星名啓太、5番が神奈川の山口直樹、6番広島の脇田義雄、そして7番が愛知2人目鰐淵正俊。以上7名が6レースのチャレンジの予選競争を戦います。125回生の高野、今回熊本は初登場です。本格陣デビューした後怪我をしましたけども、復調気味のその3番車の高野信玄、
発走します。
2分線での戦いということになります。6レースのチャレンジの予選が今スタートを切りました。3番車の高野信玄が勢いよく飛び出して初手の第1コーナー最初にカーブしました。6番車の脇田が追っています。1番車の吉武が結局下がって4番手付近です。後方から7番の鰐淵上がってまいりました。まずは愛知コンビ、高野信玄の機動力にベテランの鰐淵が枠です。
Please let me out.
そして2番車の梶尾、6番車の脇田と西の4人がまずは前段からということになります。これで難関関東勢は後ろ、5番の山口、1番の吉武、難関勢に関東4番の星名啓太、レースは2周タイムに入っています。前は西の4人前段、人気の中心3番の高野信玄に同県7番の鰐淵です。そして梶尾幸喜と6番の脇田と3726と西の4人は前段、2コーナーを回ったところで難関5番の山口が早めに上昇していきます。1番の吉武と4番の星名と難関関東の3人です。3番車の高野を早めにどかそうという5番の山口が4コーナーから直線部分に帰ってまいります。遠目に残り2周の赤番、一旦外を5番の山口が踏んでいく。しかし3番車の高野が突っ張っていきます。5番の山口が飛び出した。ちょっと1番の吉武が連携外れています。もう一度3番の高野信玄が踏んでいく。向こう上面飛び出しました3番の高野。5番の山口が結局車を下げて3番手、いや番手で粘るか。4コーナーから直線先頭3番の高野、後ろが揺れてまいりました5番の山口、外を7番の鰐淵です。残り1周の 400m を切りました。先方3番の高野、2番手が横に入れています。鰐淵も譲れません。5番の山口が内ですが結局番手を取ったのは7番の鰐淵、3番手は2番車の梶尾、そして6番車の脇田と西の4人は前段で3コーナーから4コーナーです。逃げる3番の高野です。7番の鰐淵が番手で4コーナーから直線、先頭3番の高野を押し切りました。3番7番2番です。西のラインで1、2、3、鰐淵もどう
continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Matista, you killed Fabio during the ritual.
What? No! I could never.
You knocked out Fabio with a bottle, you locked the door and placed him on the altar. You cast spells and pushed a blade between his ribs. The blood from his wound was used to draw symbols across his body and the room itself. You wanted to use your gift to resurrect him, but he failed to wake up. So you cleaned yourself up and left the room, realizing the full scale of what you'd done.
That's just wrong. I didn't do it. You didn't see what happened.
Then tell me, what did happen?
I don't know. I wasn't there. You weren't either.
Fabio was a rising star. Cordona already knew of him, and you were not as popular. Your duo was coming to an end. He would have left you, and you were afraid of that. Since you believe in your gift, you thought you could revive him after death. And that time, he would have stayed with you.
That is not true. I was afraid of him leaving me, but I would never have hurt him.
You were there when Fabio was killed. He fought for his life and inflicted those bruises on your body, but you knocked him out eventually.
I was with the guests all the time. Manchios ordered me.
Matista, you are a product of violence. You absorbed it in your childhood and have lived with it ever since. You know nothing of love, morality, or care. You are beyond any help. No judge would hesitate to hang you for what you did.
If that's so, then I'm ready to leave my body and be finally free. It's you who will have to live with your disgraceful judgment. You are wrong. I didn't... Nothing.
I've cracked the case. It was Matista. All the evidence points to her.
That peculiar girl?
Not peculiar. A dangerous occultist. At some point, she would strike a dagger through the heart of her lover.
Diabolical witch. I'll make sure we call for a priest to cleanse the interrogation room.
You might retain the priest for her hanging.
Or the burning. To hell with her. My promotion is secured now at least. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered the discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones, including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable. Garden. There's a garden behind our manor. How could I forget? That's where it all happened, where it all went wrong.
Sherry, it looks like you've almost found what you wanted.
You are wrong. I did nothing.
I'll remember this horror forever.
What a bunch of losers.
Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo!
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decision?
Whatever the truth, it had to be revealed. The victim deserved it.
Well, you seem confident in the value of your actions. I guess since I'm free, you were heard after all. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity. And it's all corrupt.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
Oh yes, it's a struggle, but yes, we can make our own decisions. That's what I fight for.
What an endless fight it is. Will you ever give yourself a break, Sherlock? You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Don't forget the fire.
はいよいよ今日の最終レースとなります。7レースのメンバーが番組へと登場してまいりました。締め切り直前1番人気は1番車の船山、5番の松尾、1と5の組、1、5というところがどうやら1番人気ということになっていました。では対戦するメンバー内側から順を追って紹介してまいりましょう。1番が愛媛の船山正樹、2番車東京広川貞治、3番車岩手の菅原洋介、4番宮城の三沢和成、5番が長崎の松尾大輝、6番地元熊本の服部勝久、そして7番が長野轟久成。以上7名が7レースのチャレンジの予選を戦います。人気の中心となった1番の船山、すでにチャレンジ8回の優勝です。熊本は練習バンクでもあり、万全の状態での登場ということになりました。今シリーズの優勝候補です。
発送します。
Mr. Holmes, that envelope awaits.
今日の最終レース、
Surely you want
7
the
レースの
task?
チャレンジの予選が今スタートを切りました。内から1番の船山が飛び出しています。
I'll admit, you piqued my interest.
船山が
Glorious.
後ろ車間を
Now,
詰めます。
let me
3
say
番車の
this.
菅原洋
A
介
gang
を
of
追います。
smugglers, the
この菅
Eagles,
原は
had
今回
Cordona
熊
in
本
their
初
clan
登
group.
場ということに
The
なりまし
British
た。
Empire can abide it no
紹
longer.
介を行っています。
Mycroft insists
5番の
they
松
be
尾が会ってまいり
disbanded,
ます。
but this organization only falls with the capture of their odious leader, Friedrich Panzer. And note well,
一応
I
短期
did
の
say
3番の菅原は切れ目の
not
どうやら
kill.
4番
Inside
手で
your
様子を見
envelope
ていきます。
is a map
4番車の
marked
三
with
沢が追って
the
い
Eels'
ます。こ
warehouses.
の三沢も
But
短期での
alas,
選手
we
を
do
行
not
ってい
know
まし
in
た。
which Friedrich Panzer
後ろ
resides.
となったらは7番の轟。
So even Mycroft has his limits.
Indeed,
2番車の広川と関
you
東勢は
must be sure to identify the correct warehouse
センターの
before
側に向かってい
entering.
ます。
Because once one is compromised, the other's occupants will scatter. Here are all the files, and feel free to use the archive too. Again, do not enter the wrong location, nor see any harm done to Friedrich Panzer.
Miss Ethel, if you're quite done with the redundant instructions, I shall get to work.
Well, that's perfect. Tortured hero lashes out after rejected romance. Tomorrow's edition will be a sensation. Good luck, Mr. Holmes.
途中残り 800m を切ったところ先頭誘導に外しました。そのまま125回生の船山が先行であります。7番車の轟は引いて4番手か、外から3番の菅原が上がっていきます。ちょっと4番手がもつれています。先行1番の船山、松尾が2番手、6番の服部が3番手、四国九州ラインは前段、4番手がちょっともつれています。7番車の轟内、外は3番の菅原、残り1周の 400m を切りました。マイペースに持ち込もうという1番の船山です。5番の松尾にとってはいい流れ。さあ、外から3番の菅原洋介が一気にまくって出ます。先行1番の船山、もう一度ギアを上げていきます。1番の船山、3番車の菅原をまくっていったんですが、結局出ていきません。4コーナーから直線。1番の船山、5番車の松尾です。1番、5番。そして短期の3番の菅原がどうやら3着のゴール。人気に応えました1番の船山です。松尾が終始マークをつけました。3着どうやらまくって出た3番の菅原です。船山正樹がまずは人気に応えたシーンです。松尾がマーク、1番5番、3着は短期の3番の菅原洋介。審判の決定放送までしばらくお待ちいただきたいと思います。